Hey everybody, I guess surprise, we are live. We just literally just got some information about Big Brother 22. We are jumping on. I mean, we haven't really even talked about this or promoted it or really anything at all, and yet here we are.
Yeah, and I mean, it was only yesterday that we did our first live in 4 months, but yeah, we're back again because they've dropped some news and we wanted to get on and talk about it right away and see what you guys think about it. So here we go.
Okay. I want to do a drum roll, but I know there's some people on Twitter who probably already saw it. So they're not doing the cast reveal for Big Brother 22 until the actual premiere date, which is
Shocking.
August. Yeah, the quote Danielle Donato at this point, shocker. It is something where the part of me that wanted to be delusional, it is a big part of me. I think we've already established at this point that I am the head in the clouds and you are the realist of us.
I am the cold water.
And so I wanted to believe in this mythical concept of, okay, here we go. All right, we're gonna get all the cast, but no. Instead, Big Brother's just nah. Okay, no, we're gonna make you guys wait for as long as humanly possible. Really, the only way they could make this longer is if the premiere starts and it's just Julie standing outside of the house or on Zoom for an hour and a half. Can you imagine how many TVs will be broken at that point? People be throwing the popcorn, all the other nonsense.
CBS, just give us a cast list. Stop being cowards.
Okay, so there's still a lot to talk through here. We'll talk about the ramifications of this. We'll talk about what ifs. We'll talk about a couple of cast rumors. But since we're live, share your questions. Let us know what you thought. We'll kind of get into that throughout this video as we go along. Also, if you do like this discussion, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell. Also, Carter Mat Store, we'll have a link for you in the description on it. And also, our Patreon is underway. We have a tiered structure there. We got some cool stuff that I highly suggest you check out if you want to support us further. And here we go.
All right. So one of the first questions is sort of what you were kind of talking about, which is, were you guys just sitting in position waiting on an announcement?
Okay, here's the
tea.
Here's the thing. It's the big entertainment tonight has something on Big Brother coming later tonight. And, if it's something substantial, we'll come back on and obviously talk about things a little bit further. But the fact that they had that and it was a listing in the listings that it was going to be a cast reveal originally. And that was enough to sort of make me go, interesting. I heard around, though, that the cast reveal was not actually going to happen on ET tonight. But the fact that there was still something, and this is no dig at Entertainment Tonight. This is one of the biggest entertainment shows on television, but Big Brother, historically, they don't really give one publication the entire power to make a huge announcement about their show. They don't do the full cast reveal on ET. I don't think they would do something like this. So I suspected that maybe we would get something more today. Maybe.
Yeah, the thing is, and I said this in, I think, the live yesterday, that I feel that they were going to do this. With everything that's going on with the health crisis, it makes sense. As much as I hate to say it and pour cold water all over everything, It really made sense that they weren't going to reveal the cast until the live move-in, because who knows what's going to happen between today and tomorrow, or, now and an hour from now. I mean, everything is just changing so fast. So revealing the cast during the live move-in, it makes sense. It kind of stinks for all of us that have been waiting around to talk about this for all this time. I mean, we had all these videos playing. We were so excited to talk about the cast and get into really deep breakdowns of how we think people are going to play and some strategies they could use. And now it's sort of that's not really going to be able to happen for anybody. And we're in this position where we're all going to learn together on premiere night, which is really close now.
It is really
it's
close.
What, 6 more sleeps?
But it's also really far. these 6 sleeps are going to feel like a million. This is going to lead to approximately 2,000 Big Brother Twitter accounts over the next week or so claiming that they have the full cast list. So brace yourselves accordingly. But I'll get into realism mode here for a second. This is a rare place for me to be.
Welcome.
Okay, so I don't think CBS wanted to do this. I think they probably, just judging from the fact that they were originally planning to have cast interviews a day ago, I think they probably wanted to release the cast even before the cast interviews. Mm-hmm. I think something has gone awry behind the scenes where they've sort of, whether it's a testing issue, whether it's a creative issue, I don't want to jump to any big conclusions there, but
yeah, we don't know.
Yeah, something has happened that has caused them to be like, oh, okay, we need to take a step back. We need to let this sort of system play out. And I'm guessing it is we got to wait for the last round of test results to come in, because they don't want to be in a position where they announce a cast and then the show premieres and then other people are in the cast, because what that would probably people would jump to the conclusion that means insert player here had a positive test, and then that's basically giving away someone's medical information.
Yeah, and they can't do that. And I mean, and I don't think they would want to do that. And they certainly shouldn't do that. I mean, it's nobody's business if somebody tests positive or they don't. It is just nobody's business. So as much as I really wanted to see a cast reveal today, I didn't think it was going to happen tomorrow. Usually Fridays are the days that they bury stuff and nobody wants to bury this. I just felt like there was no way to really reveal this cast safely and not put them in a position that, say, a positive test comes in, that then, it is going to be like, oh, this person was here and now they're not. Oh, no, I wonder what happened. And then they've kind of told everybody. That stinks.
Yeah, that's no good. They don't want to do that. They don't want to put themselves in any sort of risky position. The other thing that I'm admittedly a little bummed out here, and this is totally selfish, and I will admit I wanted to have a winner prediction video before the start of the season, because,
me too.
Because what if they do like a night one eviction or something like that? Then the predictions are not pure anymore. Is it too much to want to have a pure prediction for Big Brother? Is this a very nerdy thing that I want? Probably.
Janice, I want to say thank you for the super chat.
Yeah, and thank you.
Janice is saying, according to my Cox TV guide, ET is going to announce the cast, but I agree with Jessica that it's most likely going to be on premiere night. Yeah, they announced, I guess it was 10 minutes ago now on their social media that, yes, the cast is going to be announced live on premiere night.
What probably happened with the ET listing is I think it was written out before everything went awry with the cast reveal on Wednesday and all that other stuff. So I think it was probably a planned segment that they're probably scrapping. Maybe the ET tonight will be an interview with Julie. Yeah. Maybe it'll be a house tour. I hope it's something, because I would love to come back on here and discuss something more that's related to the game later today. If they release something good, let's go back to the motto of 2020. We don't know, because everything in 2020 is a cluster what, and we're all flying by the seat of our pants, including everyone at Big Brother who has been doing this for the better part of months on end now.
Yeah. So the other thing that's been kind of going around that we saw this morning was the TV guide posting thing. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well, and sort of what we think is actually going on, because there's been so many cast list rumors that have been out there that we said this yesterday too. It's like there's 50 people playing now at this point.
Yeah, it is a lot. It is more than I can even say. I can't wait until the rumors that are going to come out of I'm trying to think of the most obscure Big Brother house guest ever who's going to be on this season. It's hard to pick up an obscure person out from the bottom back of my head, because they're so obscure, you forget about them, like the second or third boot from maybe a season 10 years ago. We'll just go with something like that. But so for those of you who didn't know, TV Guide, this was really, really late last night. I was lying in bed scrolling Twitter because apparently I don't know how to sleep anymore. And in this, it was sort of oh, here's a list of cast members from TV Guide. And just so people know, it's the names that you're sort of been hearing all along here. You know, the Tylers, the Baileys, Janelle, like these people that have been much discussed were on this list. But this is just me personally. You know, we do not work at TV Guide. Nope. We don't know what they got going down over there. I don't necessarily think that that's an accurate cast list, and I'm not saying that they're wrong. I think what TV Guide probably did, and you know, we're saying this as people who have worked within this industry for a long time, is
almost a decade now.
The moment that the cast is potentially revealed, it is going to be like one of those scenes from The Office where Michael Scott is like running around screaming, "It's happening." It's going to be such chaos that they probably just wanted to get a jump on the situation, and we're probably just like, all right. So let's just unleash. Let's just get everything out there, and let's just prepare. That way, if the cast is announced, we already have all the pages created. So I think they just made them based on all the rumors, as opposed to, Allison Grodner came to the TV Guide office, or Zoom called them
just for them. No, I think just, from our experience in the industry for a long time, I mean, having those names already sort of in Google's SEO and having your pages up early puts them in a much better spot. It will get them ranked higher. So that's kind of where I think they are going as well, that they were like, okay, there's like these 19 people that we think all could possibly be on, there's probably a couple people that are the alternates, but we'll just put up everybody, and that way we'll rank for everybody. That's the theory. It's kind of how it does unfortunately work with Google.
Yeah.
The quicker you get on, the higher you can rank. And TV Guide already has a really high rank. So that's going to put them in a really sweet position.
Yeah. And honestly, this is going to be such a crazy competitive situation this summer with Big Brother, because there is nothing on television right now. I am watching Killer Camp on the CW. It already aired in Britain. I know I am the only person watching it, but this is a reflection of how little is actually going on. And I think because of that, everyone is chomping at the bit for news. Everybody's going to push things out there like as fast as humanly possible.
Ty Bros wants to know if we think Jackson is going to be on.
Okay, let's
just put that out there. No.
Okay, yeah,
I say no.
No,
cold water on that.
Yeah,
That's
Jackson is busy. Jackson is actually he's got a lot of watermelon to eat right now. I don't think he if the phone rang, he was too busy eating watermelon to answer it. So we do not have to worry about Jackson, and I would hope we don't have to worry about any overly problematic house guests. You know who they are already. I would, in this climate, if CBS put someone on this show with a history of saying offensive things on this show, like they are just out of their mind, tone deaf. And I want to have a little more faith in them than that. I'm not saying CBS has always given me a lot of reasons to have faith in them, but I want to hope that they don't go that way here.
And I see some of you guys talking about the fact that there's nothing on. There is nothing on. I see, Sasha, you're watching Yellowstone, so are we. It was really good. We're also watching Greenleaf and AGT. That and Killer Camp, and you're like the sole person watching that
I am
show.
Keeping Killer Camp on the air. It is on the CW tonight in case there was something that happened at the end of episode 2 that will get me demonetized if I say it on here. But it was
so ridiculous.
The show is ridiculous. The show is your brain on drugs. But yeah, there's not a lot going on.
No, so we understand why we're all in this spot right now where we are really, for me, I am disappointed that they're not going to give us the cast list early. I get why they're not doing it. It makes sense why they're not doing it, but I'm still having the disappointment about it.
So let's have a little discussion about this, because this is something that Jess and I, we've talked a little bit about this offline too, is that one of the reasons I, in my delusions of hope in unicorn land, felt like they were going to release the cast beforehand. The reason I thought they were going to do this is I felt like if you were a casual fan, having the cast reveal on premiere night isn't really great, because then maybe you'll only watch because of a few players. And I'm bringing this up because I know there are people that are like this. Survivor fans who only watch if Rupert or Boston Rob are on the show. And if you don't know that Rupert or Boston Rob are on the show before it premieres, maybe you don't watch. And so I wondered about the move, because you would probably want to use people like Tyler, like Janelle, to promote your season, to sell it, to get it out there to people. So I really thought that they were going to announce something, even if it was just Monday or Tuesday, just to clean the casuals. Because all of us, every person watching this live right now, I'm sure is probably going to watch regardless.
And I was of the opposite opinion. I think that because of basically what you guys said in the chat, there's like Yellowstone, Greenleaf, Tough as Nails, and AGT on, and Killer Camp that nobody's watching but Matt. That's
good.
That people are going to tune in. There is nothing else to watch. And this is part of how Big Brother became really successful in the first place. The first season of Big Brother came on in the summer at a time when there really was no other programming. Like there was nothing. It was a TV wasteland. And then this show appeared out of the heavens that had 24/7 live feeds, and it was on all the time. And it coming on now at this time where there is nothing, people are going to tune in. It doesn't matter who is on. They're going to, I will even tune in if Frankie is on. And that is saying a lot because I'm out on him.
Why is Frankie's name now in this video? I already had to watch him on The Prices. I watched The Prices Right last night because I was so delusional that we were going to get a cast reveal during it.
Christian, thank you for the super chat.
Thanks.
Your question is, so what do you think the segment tonight on ET is going to be about? I personally think it's probably going to be a house reveal with a Zoom call from Julie. That's what I think.
I kind of lean towards that direction. I think it might just be just the Julie interview because they did do a Julie interview, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. I have no real
Yeah, I think it's been a couple of weeks. Yeah, time is just like, woo.
I have no understanding of what day, week, month, or well, I'm starting to sound like the Friends theme song. But I have no idea of time anymore. But no, they had Julie on a segment talking about the anniversary a while back.
Yeah.
I wonder if they recorded something with Julie at that same time, because obviously CBS knew way back when what they were doing, if, the health of the country would allow them to do it. So maybe they prepared. Maybe they're just putting that on. I do kind of believe what Jess believes, though. I think it probably will be a house tour. What I'm hoping for is, because, if it's a, look at this room, look at that room, look at this room, isn't that impressive? Like,
I'll take what I can get right now.
I'll take what I can get, but it doesn't make compelling video content for us to come back on the channel later and be like, let's talk about rooms.
Yeah, no, we were hoping to do something after the ET segment tonight, but it really depends on what it is. And yeah, if it's like, here's this bed, here's the sink, here's whatever, I don't know if there's going to be enough to talk about. If they give us maybe something a little bit more, like here's a theme or here's a cool twist or something, then we're going to be back tonight.
Yeah, if there's like a mysterious room and we don't know what it is, or if there's like, I will take anything they give us. And this is the thing. If you're not going to give us a cast reveal today or until the premiere, which if you're just jumping on the video, that is the news, no cast reveal until the premiere, I think you do legitimately have to find a way to get something out there to the people to get them just excited or interested or speculating about something, because unless they've announced something since the start of this live, we don't even know how many days this season is.
Yeah, they haven't told us how long this season is. They haven't told us the cast. They haven't told us really anything except that it's coming back on the 5th and it's a 2-hour premiere and it's live. That's what we know. And now we know that we're going to learn about the cast on that day too.
Yeah, and so that kind of all creates this weird situation where we're just all in the mire now, and we're all kind of stuck wondering about what we're going to be doing, what we're going to be talking about. Like,
right?
I think the thing is, and we'll come up with some stuff. We'll have plenty of content leading up to the premiere. We'll get creative with it, but it is. I think it does have value to have sort of all of us Big Brother talking heads out there.
I agree.
I think it's important to have people getting excited and ramping up, because Big Brother, it's kind of like a sporting event in a weird way. Yeah. I say this on the cusp of the Raptors coming back, and by the way, the Raptors and Big Brother like happening in the same week. This is like clouds of joy for me at this point, but it is going to be, I think, a pretty crazy next little while. I don't know what this means for all the rumors, though. I don't know if the cast rumors are going to get worse, if they're going to get better, if it's going to go away.
Yeah, Jay Jobs is asking who's our early winner pick. And yeah, it's because of all the cast rumors of how many people have been rumored at this point, and it's like 50 people.
Yeah.
It's really hard. Like, we wanted to have a who's our pick, who, you know, let's get into everybody, and it's like now we would end up making like 50 videos.
Yeah, it's so hard to speculate on cast. It's like it's hard to do a here's this rumored cast list video, here's this rumored cast list video when there are 50 different rumored casts. I will say this. I'm not saying this is a winner pick by any means, but I am very curious if Kaser is on. I'm very curious to see how he does. And I'm not just saying because I love Kaser, but Kaser didn't do great the first couple times he was on Big Brother. I could see him being very underestimated. Mm-hmm. People might just want to work with him. They might view him as loyal. I think he could make it fairly far.
Yeah, or it's possible that they just don't view him as a threat because they'll kind of be like, oh, he's kind of an old school player.
Yeah.
And we just, whatever. We can worry about him later, and just keep saying that. We can worry about him later. We can worry about him later. And then they made a mistake.
Yeah.
Because they waited too long and now he's won the game.
I will say kind of conversely, I'm pretty worried about Tyler if Tyler is on this season, because if he's in a spot where he doesn't have people, like if Casey isn't on this season, Casey has been very rumored. If, you know, other people who he worked with here or there throughout the season aren't there, there's no Derek, presumably. There's no Dan, presumably, though Dan saying he's going to be away from his Twitch stream for a couple of days.
Cut that out. I know
so
how much
funny,
he
though.
loves to troll, but
it is great.
He's not on. He's not on.
No, but Tyler, because these other big players aren't on, he's going to stick out like a sore thumb. And if I was playing this game, I would be really, really worried about Tyler. So I think Tyler's going to be an early target.
Thank you, Janice, for the super chat. We
Thank you,
appreciate
Janice.
it. Jess and Matt, did you happen to see CBS's IG post saying Meet the House guest live on Wednesday night? I did not see the IG post. We saw it on Twitter.
Yeah, we just saw it on Twitter, and like we were so chomping at the bit to do something. It's like, all right, we got the news. Let's go. They're not going to give us anything else after that. Like, it would be really, they're not going to go on and then be like, oh, by the way, actually, we lied. We're going to give you the cast now because we know Matt and Jess are on a live now, and we want to really confuse them.
Yeah. Beitenberg is saying, will Janelle be evicted first? I could see something like that kind of happening where people will come in and see these really big players and just try to get them out first. I mean, if I was going into Big Brother and I saw Janelle sitting on the couch, she's got to go. Like, as big names like a Janelle or Danielle Donato, or if I saw Dan sitting on the couch, like, no way, no how am I keeping them in the house? It's just not going to happen. However, with it being AllStars, there may be people who are in there that really want to like show that they're good players, they're big players, and have something to prove. So bringing someone like a Janelle to the end and then beating her gives them extra cred, because if you're going to bring someone like Kaser to the end, or if David's on the cast, and I'm not here to rail on David because I really want to see him play again, because we didn't really get to see him play at all. That's the problem. He was there for like a minute and then he was gone. You know, a David would maybe want to bring somebody like a Janelle to the end, because then if he can beat her, that gives him the cred. But if you bring David to the end who hasn't played before, you know, is it the same weight that's on it if you're going to go up against a Dan?
And I think there's an interesting winners at war sort of comparison here, where I think if you are a big threat, one of the things that, you know, my beloved Tony wanted to do is keep a lot of the other big players together as long as possible. And I think if you are a Tyler, I know I keep using his name a lot, but in a hypothetical world where Dan was on this season, I know he's not, but if he was, I think there's value in being like, okay, I need to keep Tyler. I need to keep Janelle. I need to keep, like, I'm not bullish on Janelle as a winner per se, but I don't really know why you would get rid of Janelle right away unless you were just like so terrified of her competition ability. But her competition ability was also a good while ago. So I don't want to make any assumptions about Janelle until I actually see her on the show. I would just get rid of someone who I wasn't vibing with, or someone who I thought could target me down the road. I wouldn't be like, I need to get out this person because of past experience. I need to be, what is impacting me in the present?
Drew asks, which is riskier for Janelle, winning the first HOH or throwing it?
I wouldn't throw the first HOH in an all-star season.
I think everyone's got to play for that first HOH. Everyone has played already.
Yeah.
Everyone knows kind of where everybody's game is. Nobody's hiding what their past is. Everybody should know what everyone else is capable of.
Yeah, I like these strategy questions.
Yeah,
like, keep these coming because, we haven't had too many opportunities to talk about strategy this season so far. But, if I think winning the first HOH is not always a good thing in Big Brother, obviously, because it can put a target on your back. But I think on an all-star season, everyone already has a target on your back.
Yeah.
So it's not like you winning the first competition automatically makes you someone people have to pay attention to. I don't really think there's a lot of just negatives about it superficially because you can use that first HOH. You don't get embarrassed by being the first person out.
Yep.
You get a chance to build, some really good alliances with people, maybe strike some deals, and you get a chance to go after somebody because maybe you've pre-gamed with 8 different people because let's be honest, this is happening. Nicole did not kick every person off this season for pre-gaming.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm probably on an island of my own for this, and I know why a lot of people feel that winning the first HOH is bad, but I actually, in a lot of ways, think that it's good because when you don't know anybody else that's there, so not for an all-stars, but if you don't know anybody else that's there, and you do want to start building alliances and learning sort of where the house is sitting, you need that information. And having that information really early is good because typically winning the first HOH doesn't really always paint a target on your back because nobody's that close yet. So if you kick somebody out, it's kind of like, oh, I didn't even know them anyways. It doesn't really matter.
I think it really, there's a lot of different circumstances and variables that come into play with it that I think they all have to consider. But I just think all parts being equal, it doesn't hurt you that much to win the first HOH unless it is something that is like prove you are the biggest competition beast ever and do a physical, mental, and every single thing that's going to make you look like the most terrifying contestant ever. Other than that, I think it's okay to play for it.
Thank you, Annie, for the super chat. She's telling us to keep it up, and we will all season. So for those of you who don't know what our plan is to do what Matt was doing last summer, except I'm going to be joining him for a lot of it, which is we're going to have multiple live feed updates a day. We're going to try to sort of do like morning, afternoon, evening, and then the night if something is really happening. If there's an endurance, I will be asleep. Matt will be up and doing that because he's a champ.
Well, that's one way to put it. Another way to put it is insane. And
no, you're a boss.
I really love doing the multiple things throughout the day. I'm thrilled that Jess will be there for a lot of them this season because it does. Big Brother is better when you have people to discuss Big Brother with. For
sure, but we also have to eat and upkeep the house.
Yeah, that's sort of the thing. And that's why I was internally grateful to Jess last summer to making sure that everything did not fall to ruin while I'm just sitting here yelling into a camera.
Chaz is asking, how about Memphis from Big Brother 10 and those rumors? Do we think that is happening?
I hope it's happening.
Yes.
The thing is that the Memphis and the Keisha rumors are the most fascinating to me because, they're people who are kind of like in that middle school tier where they're not early enough to be super nostalgic players, but they're really interesting players. They're not new enough to have recency bias. Memphis is fascinating, and Memphis is so much of his first game. Everybody just remembers it because of Dan and because of the alliance that they had and everything else. So getting to see him sort of play in a different environment, that would be super intriguing to me. Just like it would be really intriguing to me to see Keisha come back in a very different environment because these are people who aren't really kind of sort of a part of the proper Big Brother ecosystem. They may not think about the game the same exact way. They may not be thinking about, I need to get on the next season of the challenge. Like they have different priorities and mindsets. And I think that's fascinating. And I'm not dogging the current philosophy of Big Brother, but I just think the more perspectives you can have on a season, the better it is. I miss some parts of the older seasons.
Yeah. L Rocky fan is saying you guys are the closest thing to talking with someone about Big Brother, and we feel that too. We mentioned that yesterday on the live feed that besides each other and my dad, who texts me 100 times a day about Big Brother, there is nobody else in our lives that watch Big Brother or watch the live feeds like we watch the live feeds. So we covered Big Brother for a really long time at our website, cartermatt.com, and the past like couple years here. Being here has been really good for us because this is where we've actually been able to talk to people and meet people and hear other people's opinions, because we don't have that in our lives either.
Yeah, and it just makes us really grateful, and it makes us really happy to be here and doing it and talk, because it also just makes us kind of feel like, you know, we have sort of a place within this greater sort of Big Brother reality TV world, because there's so many different directions and places that people can run to. But it's so I love the community that we have here. I think a lot of our viewers are just really kind and funny and engaging. And I'm not just saying this because we're on a live with a lot of you right now, but it has been so much fun. And that's why I'm so excited to actually get into the season itself.
Let me see here.
What is next?
What is next?
We will see.
Let's see. Val, I just have a feeling that the older players will team up with the younger players. Do you guys think that'd be a good strategy?
I don't think it's a bad strategy. I don't necessarily want to see like the middle players. I don't know what a middle player is, but I don't want to necessarily see them be cut out. But I do think there's a certain degree of, if you are, let's say you're somebody who's a big super fan who's reasonably new to the show, like you probably grew up to some extent watching Janelle or watching Kaser, or maybe you have affection towards Memphis, and maybe you have some of that hero worship that makes you want to sort of pair up with them. It's like, I'll just talk about The Price is Right last night, where you had Dr. Will on there, and it's like, if I have to be paired with somebody for The Price is Right or Big Brother or anything else, I would not be able to focus if I was with Will, because I would just be like, how is your skin so clear? How are you so amazing? How are you so living? I would just be like hero worshiping all over him. I love Will. And I would lose the Will because I would get caught up in the Will of it all.
I'm actually wondering if this could play out a little bit like we just saw on Survivor and their Winners at War, because what ended up kind of happening was like all the old school people just got like kicked off right away, and it was like one after another. And I was kind of wondering, or a little bit worried, that might happen here too, where it's kind of like all the new school people will just kick off all the old school people, or vice versa, and that it'll end up being a little bit divided that way. They'll be like, oh yeah, we're all the old school people, we got to stick together and get these new kids out, kind of thing.
The only thing I really don't want out of this season is I don't want it to be dominated by pregame nonsense. I know that it's going to happen, and I think you'll see it happen more early on in the game because those conversations will be more recent. But I'm hoping as the season goes along, and I'm also hoping that Big Brother kind of went off the map and cast some people nobody is talking about, which I'm still hoping for, that it'll make it harder for people to pregame, and there will be more alliances that are breaking and falling apart, because just pregame alone, it's not good TV. It's not good live feeds. I want betrayals. I want people getting mad and yelling at each other.
Well, that's where the twists are going to come in. And that's why I think CBS knows that there's going to be pre-gaming. That's why all that stuff with the Nicole got people kicked off for pre-gaming. Like, it's just all nonsense to me. I think they understand that is just going to be part of the way that it is. So I think CBS probably has a bunch of twists that are super unfair that are going to come and drop a bomb on the house and make it so that it doesn't matter if you're pre-gaming. You're just going to get screwed over by some nonsense twist that we're all going to be at home being like, really? That's what I think.
Here's another thing I don't want. I don't want the return of Paul's, what was it called? The pendant of protection or whatever that gave him like safety for the first few weeks. Don't make it a popularity contest where we give our favorite player something that is safe for a few weeks. Granted, it won't be as unfair as when Paul got it, because with Paul, it was basically like, hey, Big Brother fans, are you going to give something to Paul, who you know and has a fan base and was popular at the time, or all these schmoes you don't know at all? Like, that was so obvious, but I don't want something like that, even if it means our favorites going home early, even if Danny Donato gets voted off or evicted. I don't want that. I don't even know for sure she's there.
You can see yourself out.
I can't actually get out over this way because there's a lot of desk and stuff in the way. So I'm stuck right here talking about my hypothetical. No, if Danny's on the season, I don't want her gone early. But if she goes early, it's got to be of her own accord. I don't want anybody to be saved by some crummy twist that sort of just ruins the integrity right away.
Lynn is asking, Jess, would you want Tyler to win? I would if he's going to play a similar or even better game than he did when we last saw him, because I think he played a pretty good game. So, I mean, if he can kind of get something like that going and go into the house as big of a target as he is going to be and win, then I'll be fine with that. I won't be mad at that.
I just have like a few like things in my head right now. Like, this is like the criteria that I want from a Big Brother player. It's sort of like, okay, play the game really, really hard. If you do that, I'm going to be happy with you. Don't get offensive. Don't like say anything that's personal or mean about other people. You know, be active and entertaining to the live feeders. Like, those are the big things I want. Just play hard. Don't be a terrible person, and just remember it's a TV show. I'm going to be sitting here watching you people at like 11:30 at night, like tired, just losing it. I want to see people like making.
I'll be asleep.
Yeah, I'll be watching like somebody make like weird paper mache things, or like doing like conga lines around the backyard or something, whatever nonsense they get into in the After Dark audience. I just make it fun for me, because I don't want to watch people either sleeping or cuddling or doing nothing. Strategy conversations also okay. I'll allow that.
J Jobs is asking, should Ika replace Julie Chen? So here's the thing. We did a video a little bit earlier about Arissa getting her promotion and kind of how crappy it was, everything that happened to Ika. And I'd like Ika to be able to go back to where she was, but maybe be treated better.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Arissa being put into a better position of power, which she should be. She deserves it. She's worked hard. I've known sort of Arissa on and off throughout the years when she was on the Lofters. I had met her way, way, way back then. She's a really hard worker. She's been doing this for a very long time. So it was really exciting to see that happen. What happened with Ika, I think, allowed for that Ika had to sacrifice sort of herself and her job to allow for better positions to actually being opened up to people, which never should have had to happen that way. So at this point, I think that Ika doesn't need to come down here and replace Julie, but Global needs to drive a truck of money up to Ika's house with a big apology and ask her to come back and treat her properly with a real I'm sorry. That's what I want to see. Yeah.
I want to see Ika get the job back that she deserves to have back. I mean, I also wouldn't be upset if Ika was to ever play Big Brother US, but that's just because, you know, hosting Big Brother, you only see Julie like maybe like 10 minutes a week, if that. I don't know how it's even going to work in this sort of current climate. I want Ika on the live feeds because Ika's great television. Ika is so entertaining and funny, and she plays hard. I don't want to see her in a position where we don't get to enjoy that.
Kevin's asking first boot and first HoH prediction.
It's hard when we don't
with the rumored
cast. Okay, with the rumored, I don't think Tyler would be the first boot out of the people who are rumored, but I could see it be a situation where, you know, if someone like Christmas ends up being on the cast, I could see Christmas maybe not getting along with everybody. I could see her being a potential first boot. If Josh is on this season, Josh stirs up so much stuff. Like, people don't always even remember that with the twist and everything that was going on, Josh found a way to kind of get immunity for himself at the start of that season. But it was looking really bad for Josh that first week of that season as well.
Yeah, it's interesting because I could see someone like a Josh being a first boot for some people, being like, oh, listen, I just don't want to put up with this all season long.
Yeah.
At the same time, I could see, we got a lot of strategists going in here to be like, I can beat Josh. So I'm going to bring Josh along for this ride and I'll just put up with it. It's a game, so why not? It's really hard to figure it out with the rumored cast at this point, because it is like, I was really looking forward to these interviews that were supposed to come out yesterday to kind of see how everyone's going to play, because we know how people did play.
Yeah.
But going in, everybody knows how everybody played. So I'm kind of wondering, like, how many people are going to switch it up? And I think a lot of people are.
Yeah, it's going to depend a lot on how you behave once you get in there and how you act when you get in there. But first, HOH. If Kaser's there, I actually think Kaser may end up winning the first HOH, because I think he's pretty well-rounded, and I think he could win a lot of different things. But if not him, if it's really something that is like super, super athletic, Bailey did really well on the challenge. And if Bailey is there, I wouldn't rule out her doing a reasonably good job on something like that. Or maybe people throw it to someone a little bit unexpected, like, wouldn't it be funny if Enzo, who was terrible in almost every challenge on Big Brother 12, if Enzo ended up being the first HOH here?
I could actually see, if Enzo's on this season, that he ends up getting to the end and winning. I kind of think that the person who's going to end up winning this season will be somebody who's very unexpected. I think it's going to be someone that would be like an Enzo or David, or someone that we just, has a really good social game, or is really perceptive on stuff and makes it to the end. And just, really, for me, I always think that the person that's going to end up winning is whoever does the best jury management, because if you can't win them over, you don't win. And somebody like Enzo, I think, would do great with that. And everyone's going to walk out the door feeling good. And somebody might make a mistake of bringing him to the end, and then he'll win.
This is the funny thing, is that yesterday, this is a real flashback to yesterday's live for those of you who watch both. I said that there was a player who I was trying to think about, because somebody asked who I thought was one of the best players to never win. I couldn't figure out who I was talking about, and it was Enzo. And it's not that I think Enzo is the best player to never win, but I think he's really underrated because he's such a good social player. And I think he's funny and engaging, and he doesn't have to win competitions to go far. No. He had a very stable alliance, and I think a lot of people trusted him within that alliance. I think he was a threat if he got to the end of Big Brother 12, that people liked him so much, and he had an endearing story, because he had, he had stuff back home. He was a little bit older. I like Enzo. I'm high on him. I don't know if he'd be my winner pick, but he's someone I'm really high on coming into this.
Lisa's asking, what do you think Nicole Anthony's announcement will be? She said she's waiting for permission to post it. So my theory is that it's not about her being on the cast. And it really pains me to say that, because there are not a lot of kind of nerdy girl representation on TV in general. So for someone like me, I really enjoy seeing other people like me on the show. So, I mean, I really want to see her on there, and I hope that I'm wrong about this. But now that they have said that the cast is going to be revealed live, I do not think that she is going to be getting permission to be the sole person that gets to go on and say that she's on the show. So I'm wondering if it maybe has something, I don't know, something else to do with kind of what she's been doing online, maybe a possible new job or something to do with her show that she's doing, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's got to be related somewhat to her online social platform in some way. I mean, maybe it will end up being a clue that she is on this season, but I think if CBS comes out and says, we're not revealing the cast until premiere night, they're not going to then be like, okay, Nicole Anthony, even though people really love you, which they do. I love Nicole Anthony, but they're not going to be like, okay, you have permission to post that you're on and nobody else does.
Yeah, I would be shocked. Yeah. I mean, I remember when Dan was like, oh, I have a big announcement coming. And everyone was like, oh, he's going to say on his Twitch stream that he's on the show. Yeah. I was just like, I don't know. And this is Dan. Yeah. Like, if they're not going to let Dan say he's on the show, they're not going to let anybody say that they're on the show. And I don't even think they were going to ever let Dan say he was going to be on the show either. It's just...
Dan's the king of Big Brother. If they're not letting the king of Big Brother announce anything, it's going to be something that's hopefully fun and hopefully something good for Nicole, because I like her, and it's great to have one Nicole right now that's not entrenched in controversy.
Yeah.
The other Nicole, Oh boy, like we've said, we don't believe a lot of that nonsense that's out there, but
Rocky Fan is saying, do you guys prefer to watch interesting All-Stars or All-Stars who play hard? I want people who are going to play hard. I'm here for the gameplay. It's the thing that I like the most about Big Brother. I don't like the showmances. I'm not here for the drama. Some of the fights are, fun to kind of dive into that nonsense, but I like the really good gameplay. And that's why it's like people, like I was saying, like an Enzo, someone who maybe might feel like they have something to prove, would be really interesting to me, because I think they're going to be super hungry to play and prove themselves. And I love that.
I am all on. I'm going to totally do a cop out here. I'm going to say both, because
no, but it's true. You are in both.
I am in both, because the thing is, I really love watching bad Big Brother players. This is why I loved Devon so much, because he was awful at the game, but he was so much fun to watch. And I know that Joey on season 16 was kind of the same way. It's like we get really bad players early on, and that's why some of the first couple weeks of live feeds for a lot of these seasons are just fantastic, because you get to watch people completely implode their games. And that's why you could easily do a season of Big Brother with people who are these like really, really early boots from seasons, because there's just a lot of good there. Like the original Saboteur, Annie, was pretty entertaining. I know Lawan made it a little bit further, but I love Lawan. Maybe Lawan will come back with special powers on Big Brother 22. Can that happen?
I hope he does, and he has to. That was so great.
That was the best. I hated what happened to Lawan, but I also loved what happened to Lawan, because it gave us that moment.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I like those types of moments. Some of the like screaming matches that go on, they can be kind of entertaining, but they're also kind of, I don't know, a little bit much. It kind of depends on what's going on. Like that big fight with Bailey and Tyler was so out of control that started to make it a little bit uncomfortable, but for me to watch. But Keisha's birthday, that was entertaining.
Yeah, I think ultimately it's all the situation. Taco Tuesday to me was funny, because it was just the idea of them doing Taco Tuesday was just kind of dumb in the first place.
Janelle's asking thoughts on Devon. I'm very excited about the idea that she might be back. I'm not going to pretend that I'm not.
Yeah, I'm very pro Devon. Once again, while watching The Price is Right last night, thinking they were actually going to give me something, insert clown nose effect here, I was reminded of how much I love Devon. Devon she's not a perfect Big Brother player. Like, she hasn't made it as far as I would have liked her to on either of her past seasons, but her confessionals are gold. She's iconic within this world. Like, she's a legitimate all-star because of what she's brought to this community. And I just think she's going to be funny. I think she's probably going to be underrated to some degree because she hasn't made it so far. I think Devon's got a reasonable chance entering this, kind of depending on where the chips fall for her.
Yeah, I think it's possible. I really would love to see her win.
Well, I would be thrilled.
The thing is that even though she might be underestimated a little bit when it comes to sort of gameplay, because some people seem to think that she's just a little more entertainment than gameplay, and I don't agree. I think that she really could play this game all the way to the end and being underestimated, but she is such a big personality and people love her so much that I could see people be just intimidated with that people just gravitate to her and they like her so much that could be the thing that's a downfall for other people when they, bring her to the end.
Yeah, I hope it goes well for Devon this time. I think she's going to do all right. I think at the very least she'll be on the jury. That's just where I am right now with it.
Thomas is asking, how do you guys think casual fans will handle the live move-in and cast reveal? It's a good question.
Yeah, I think they will be okay with it. I just think that casuals in general, I think it benefits them, like I said earlier, to be able to know who the cast is in advance so that they can really get excited about it. And I will posture this one theory out there. Mm-hmm. What if CBS is doing it this way because the cast isn't as great as a lot of people would expect for an all-star season? And they don't want people to be turned off and saying, oh, this cast isn't amazing beforehand. So they want to lure people in first so that they can get them addicted before they decide to not be a part of it. I'll say I like the cast that's out there. And I like that there are people like potentially Enzo and Keisha and Kevin Campbell. Like, I'm really into these, but these are not names casual fans are going to remember.
Nick is asking, did you hear CBS is pissed that Evil Dick posted the cast?
Well,
here's the thing. There has been so many casts that have been posted that, like, I think it's just sort of ever changing at this point. I don't think anybody actually has it. I think everybody has people talking in their ear. I'm sure Evil Dick has heard stuff from people, and I think what he thinks he's getting is something, and it may even be at the time that he's getting it that this is legit.
Yeah.
But because of everything that's going on with the health crisis, one day it's real, the next day they're changing, the next day something else is real, next day that's changing. I mean, is CBS probably mad at everybody that's releasing stuff? Yes, I don't think it would just be Evil Dick or just one person. I think that CBS is probably pissed at it all. And at this point is just like, oh, you guys are all this is my theory. Oh, you guys are all gonna release the cast. Well, now no cast for anybody. Everybody gotta wait. That's just my theory, though, that they're like, no, I'm not having it.
Yeah, my theory is that I think they want to release the cast because they want to shut up all the people who are posting the cast because I think they're irritated about it. And yeah, of course they're mad at Evil Dead. They're mad at every person who's out there posting spoilers for their show before it airs because it's taking something away from them. But I'm not saying that Evil Dick's wrong. I'm not saying that any of these other people are wrong. It's just, like Jess said, everything is changing, evolving. What may be true today may not be true tomorrow. Remember, CBS even said we were having a cast reveal this week. So if that's the case. That's
right. We're all in the clown car together at this point.
We are all there. I just don't. It's fun to speculate about the cast and all that sort of stuff. And I'm sure we will continue to do it. But I don't think we should be looking at anything and saying verbatim, this is fact and this is why it's fact, because the only people that have the facts are Allison Grodner off somewhere in her office right now, cackling that nobody actually knows the truth.
Yeah. And I think that is the truth of it all. Nobody actually knows anything. I mean, there's so many Big Brother players that are just trolling people. There's people that probably thought they were going to be on the show. Maybe they're not now. Like, it's shifting so much that I don't think anybody knows anything is the truth of it all. And I think we are all going to end up just finding out who it is. I mean, there are some people that have been rumored over and over again that I'm starting to lean into to be like, okay, yeah, maybe they'll be on. But I just pour cold water all over everything because I don't want to believe anything until I know it's true, because then I'm going to get super disappointed, like I did when Dan did his live and was like, yeah, I'm not on the show. I'm like, wah, wah. I didn't believe it anyways, but there was a little part of my heart that was like, please let this be true. Please, 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 please. And then, of course, I'm disappointed. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I just think,
take it with a grain of salt and just, we only have like 6 more sleeps, guys.
Yeah, and I just think in general, we like to be able to present things at least somewhat on a basis of fact, and if it's not fact, we at least tell you that it's rumored or anything else. And we don't want to try to dive too far down rabbit holes, because if we do, guess what? You got to climb back out, and sometimes it's hard to climb back out if you've dug yourself too deep of a hole.
Yeah, it's true. And I mean, talking about the rumors and stuff is really fun, and we do love doing that, but we want to give a place that you guys can come to, so that we're going to kind of try to pull rumors away from what's actual fact. And
all right, well, I guess we'll start to wind things down a little bit here.
Yep.
It's bittersweet news, obviously. It's this, they could be worse. That is the real thing. It could be the season's not happening.
No, don't put that in the universe. Anything can still happen.
No, well, for now,
knock on wood.
We're still, that's not wood, but I'm still knocking on it. It's still a situation where anything could happen. So we got to be attuned to that, but it could be worse right now. I'm happy that we know that there is at least some sort of idea as to when the cast reveal is going to be, so we can all stop like rocking back and forth with anticipation for it.
Yeah, it's better to just know, and I'm glad that they actually just said something. I mean, I wish that they had just said this from the beginning, because with the health crisis, I just honestly didn't know how they were going to tell us in advance without putting anyone's medical information at risk. This is the only way to do that and keep everybody's medical information safe. I don't want to know if somebody is going through something like this unless they want to tell me and they want to put it out online. Otherwise, don't tell me. I don't want to know about it.
Yeah, that's the real thing about it. I don't like being in the business of speculating as to what's going on with somebody, if they have a positive test or not or anything like that. So we'll just see what happens with the cast reveal on the premiere. Rest assured, we will have a lot of coverage still. We are going to come up with some ideas. We don't have all the ideas right now because we were hoping to do some cast spotlights and stuff, but we will have some stuff coming up over the next few days. Stay tuned for that. Like this video and subscribe if you did appreciate it. We definitely love coming on here and talking with you guys live. It's kind of crazy. We've done it 2 days in a row.
I know, we haven't done one for 4 months now. We've been on 2 days in a row, and thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for everyone for, joining us for everything. I see TV Talks with Tom on there is another really great channel. Hey, Tom, thank you so much for joining us. I know we're about to get off a line here, but thanks for joining us. And thank you everybody for joining us. I mean, it's been fun.
Yeah, it's always fun coming on here with you guys, and we'll certainly do this. We're going to be doing some lives on Patreon as well.
Yeah,
we've got one of those planned at the end of every month. I think it's the last Sunday of the month, so you can check that out if you're interested in supporting us there. But also, we have the store. I already said give us a like, subscribe. But anyway, there's a heat wave happening here, people. You can feel the warmth starting.
Hot. Oh my gosh.
But thank you guys for watching. This has been fun, and we will have more Big Brother coverage soon. We will see you then.
Thank you.